I, 28F, need to get this off my chest because I'm really hurting right now. I've been best friends with Rebecca, 29F, for almost 15 years. We met during our freshman year of high school when we were paired up for a biology project. We clicked instantly, same sense of humor, same taste in music, and same dreams of going to college in the big city. She was the first person I called when I got my acceptance letter, and we ended up going to the same university. Throughout college, we were inseparable. We shared a tiny apartment off campus for 3 years with barely enough space for both our clothes, but we made it work. When my parents went through a messy divorce during my junior year, Rebecca skipped her spring break plans to stay with me. When she lost her marketing job during the pandemic, I helped her with rent for 3 months until she found a new position. We've been through everything together: birthdays, breakups, job interviews, family drama. She's basically the sister I never had. The complicated part of our story starts about 5 years ago. I met David at a work conference in Chicago. He was charming, intelligent, and we hit it off immediately. We started dating long distance. He lived about an hour away, seeing each other on weekends. The relationship lasted 8 months, and honestly, it was good while it lasted. We enjoyed each other's company, had similar interests in hiking and photography, and got along well with each other's friends. But the distance started taking its toll, and we both realized we wanted different things. I was looking to settle down in our city, while he wanted to explore opportunities on the West Coast. The breakup was mutual and amicable. We stayed friends on social media, liked each other's posts occasionally, and would chat if we ran into each other at industry events. Rebecca was there for me after the breakup, even though I told her I was fine. She organized a girls' weekend, complete with wine, face masks, and terrible romantic comedies. 2 years after David and I broke up, Rebecca got a job at Trans Tech Solutions, the same company where David worked. She was excited about the role: better pay, better benefits, and a chance to work on bigger projects. I was genuinely happy for her. She mentioned running into David at orientation, and I told her what a great guy he was. Over the next few months, I noticed she talked about him more and more. One Friday night, over our traditional pizza and wine dinner, she confessed she had feelings for David. She was worried about how I'd feel, but I encouraged her to go for it. I even helped organize group happy hours where they could spend time together without it being awkward. I watched their relationship bloom and was thrilled when they started dating officially. Fast forward 2 years, and David proposed. The proposal was perfect. He asked for my help planning it because he knew Rebecca would never suspect anything if she thought she was meeting me for our usual Sunday brunch. I helped him set up the rooftop restaurant where we used to have our college study sessions, complete with photos from their relationship and her favorite flowers. Rebecca was over the moon, and I was too. She asked me to be her maid of honor the same day, and I spent the next few months helping her plan everything. We looked at countless venues together, created mood boards for different color schemes, and spent hours on Pinterest planning the perfect wedding. I went with her to every vendor meeting, taking detailed notes because I knew how forgetful she could be. I even helped her narrow down wedding dress styles before she went shopping with her mom. Everything was perfect, or so I thought. 3 months ago, Rebecca asked me to come over to her place after work. She was acting strange, fidgeting with her engagement ring, barely touching the Thai food we ordered, and avoiding eye contact. Finally, she told me she didn't want me at her wedding. I thought she was joking at first, but her eyes were dead serious. She explained that she found some old texts on David's phone while using it to order takeout. The texts were between David and his college friend Mike, from about 3 years ago, before he even met Rebecca. In the texts, David mentioned that I would always hold a special place in his heart because I was his first serious relationship after college and helped him through a tough time when his dad was sick. I tried explaining to Rebecca that these texts were ancient history, that David and I were nothing more than casual friends now, and that I was genuinely happy for them. But she wouldn't listen. She said she couldn't enjoy her wedding day knowing I was there, knowing that somewhere in David's heart, he still had feelings for me. She made me promise not to come to the wedding, saying our friendship would be over if I showed up. I was devastated but agreed because I valued our friendship more than my pride. I continued helping her with wedding planning remotely, ordering personalized favors, coordinating with vendors over email, and even helped her mom organize the bridal shower through text messages. I wasn't invited to the shower, but I still spent hours creating a digital slideshow of Rebecca's photos for it. The wedding is in 2 weeks, and I've been trying to make peace with watching my best friend get married through Instagram stories. But yesterday, my friend Sarah changed everything. Sarah, who's invited to the wedding, called me in tears after the bridal shower. She said she couldn't keep quiet anymore about what happened. According to Sarah, During the bridal shower, Rebecca spent a good hour badmouthing me to everyone. She told them I was pathetic and desperate, still pining after David after all these years. She claimed I tried to sabotage their relationship multiple times by showing up at their date spots accidentally. The worst part? She told everyone I tried to kiss David at their engagement party, a complete lie because I wasn't even at the engagement party. I was home with COVID, which Rebecca knows because she dropped off soup and magazines at my doorstep that weekend. Sarah was so shocked by Rebecca's behavior that she recorded parts of the rant on her phone. She sent me the audio, and hearing Rebecca's voice saying those horrible things about me made me physically sick. 15 years of friendship, and this is what she really thinks of me? Or is she just saying these things to justify not inviting me to the wedding? I'm sitting here, alternating between crying and feeling angry. I've given up so much for this friendship, kept my distance when asked, supported her relationship from the beginning, and this is what I get in return? Should I confront Rebecca? Should I tell David that she's been lying to everyone? Or should I just cut my losses and walk away from this friendship? Edit. Thank you all for your responses. I'm reading through them and trying to process everything. A lot of you are asking about David. No, he doesn't know about Rebecca making me promise not to come to the wedding. As far as he knows, I declined the invitation because of work commitments. Rebecca asked me to tell him this excuse to avoid drama. Update 1 first, I want to thank everyone who commented on my original post. Reading through hundreds of responses helped me realize I wasn't overreacting. A lot of you suggested telling David the truth immediately, but I was hesitant. Despite everything, I didn't want to ruin what was supposed to be the happiest day of their lives. But life has a funny way of revealing the truth, even when we try to hide it. Last Saturday started like any other day. I was at the Valley View Mall, shopping for new work clothes since I needed something to keep my mind off the upcoming wedding. That's when I saw them, Rebecca and Andrew, her 45-year-old boss, coming out of David's bridal. At first, I ducked behind a pillar, not wanting an awkward encounter. Rebecca was holding a garment bag that I assumed was her wedding dress. What happened next made my blood run cold. Andrew pulled Rebecca close in the parking lot, right next to his Mercedes, and kissed her. Not a friendly peck, but a full-on passionate kiss. I felt like I was watching a car crash in slow motion. Rebecca, who had accused me of trying to steal her fiancé, was kissing her married boss just days before her wedding. I took out my phone and recorded a short video, then snapped a few pictures. I knew no one would believe me without proof. I sat in my car for almost an hour afterward, trying to process what I'd seen. I knew Andrew was married with 3 kids. Rebecca had shown me pictures from their company Christmas party where his wife and children were present. She had even commented on how perfect their family seemed. I went home and poured myself a large glass of wine, still unsure about what to do with this information. That's when Sarah called again. She had more recordings from the bridal shower that she hadn't shared earlier because she thought they would hurt me too much. In these new recordings, Rebecca was telling everyone the real reason David and I broke up. She claimed I had cheated on him with my college ex-boyfriend. This was the final straw. The real reason for our breakup was simple and mutual. We wanted different things in life. David had even helped me set up my dating profile a few months after our breakup. To hear Rebecca spreading such malicious lies about me, while she was the one actually cheating, made me feel physically ill. I called David around midnight, not caring about the late hour. He answered on the first ring, sounding worried because I never call that late. I asked if we could meet the next day. He agreed immediately, suggesting the coffee shop where we used to meet when we were dating. The next morning, I arrived early and got us both coffee. I remembered he likes his black with 1 sugar. When David arrived, he looked tired, like he hadn't slept well. He sat down, and before he could say anything, I pulled out my phone and played Sarah's recordings from the bridal shower. His face went through a range of emotions: confusion, shock, and then anger. I then showed him the text where Rebecca made me promise not to come to the wedding, followed by the pictures and video from the mall. David's hands were shaking by the time he handed my phone back. He revealed that Rebecca had been acting strange lately, working late, being protective of her phone, and getting defensive when he asked about her day. He had attributed it to wedding stress. Then David told me something that made everything worse. Rebecca had been pushing to move up the wedding date, claiming she wanted to get married before her grandmother got too sick to attend. But David had run into her grandmother at the grocery store last week, and she was perfectly healthy, even training for a 5K. David left the coffee shop immediately and drove to Rebecca's apartment. He called me 2 hours later. Rebecca had confessed to everything when confronted. The affair with Andrew had been going on for 4 months. She'd been meeting him at hotels during her late nights at work. The wedding dress shopping trip I witnessed? That was actually their 3rd trip together. She had been too indecisive to pick a dress with her mom, but somehow managed to choose one with Andrew present. The wedding has been called off. David already contacted the venue and vendors to cancel everything. His parents are helping him return the wedding gifts. Rebecca's phone has been blowing up my phone with messages, first apologizing, then blaming me for ruining her life, then apologizing again. She says I had no right to expose her affair, that I only did it because I was jealous of her happiness. The situation at her workplace has exploded too. Someone, not me, anonymously emailed Andrew's wife about the affair. He's been suspended pending an investigation into inappropriate workplace relationships. Rebecca might lose her job too. Part of me feels guilty for being the catalyst that brought everything crashing down. But a larger part feels relieved that the truth is out. I don't have to carry the burden of her lies anymore, don't have to pretend I'm busy on her wedding day, don't have to watch my words around our mutual friends. David asked me to get coffee again next week. He wants to apologize properly for believing Rebecca's lies about me, though I told him it wasn't his fault. I agreed to meet him, but only after things settled down a bit. The last thing I need is Rebecca spreading more rumors about me stealing her fiancé. I'll update again if anything significant happens. Right now, I'm just trying to process everything and move forward with my life. Edit: a lot of you are asking if I regret exposing the affair. No, I don't. Rebecca wasn't just cheating on David, she was actively trying to destroy my reputation while doing so. David deserved to know the truth before making the biggest mistake of his life. Update 2: the aftermath of exposing Rebecca's affair has been intense, to say the least. Everything blew up even more dramatically than I could have imagined, and several shocking developments have occurred since my last update. 3 days after my last post, Rebecca's affair became very public knowledge at Trans Tech Solutions. Andrew's wife, Lisa, showed up at the office during lunch hour. She walked straight to Rebecca's desk, threw a stack of printed hotel receipts on it, and started yelling about how Rebecca destroyed her family. Security had to escort Lisa out, but not before half the office heard everything. Within hours, HR called both Rebecca and Andrew into separate meetings. It turns out Trans Tech has a strict policy about relationships between managers and their direct reports. Both Rebecca and Andrew were fired by the end of the day. Andrew for abusing his position of power and Rebecca for not disclosing the relationship to HR. She tried arguing that it was consensual and private, but the company wasn't having it, especially since they had used company cards to pay for their hotel stays. But Rebecca wasn't done. The next day, she showed up at my workplace, makeup streaked from crying, demanding to speak with me. When security wouldn't let her up, she asked to speak with my manager instead. She told him I had been helping her with wedding planning during office hours, using company resources for personal work, and spending hours on personal calls. She even showed him screenshots of our text messages about wedding vendors, all carefully edited to remove timestamps and context. My boss called me in for a meeting, but thankfully, I had proof of everything. All my wedding-related help had been done after hours or during lunch breaks. I even had my timesheets and email records to prove it. Still, it was humiliating having to explain the whole situation to my boss. Then came the mutual friend situation. Rebecca started telling everyone that I had been secretly meeting David throughout her engagement, that I had manipulated him with old photos and memories, and that I orchestrated this whole exposure to break them up. Some friends actually believed her at first. After all, the timing did look suspicious. But remember those wedding planning sessions I helped with? I had kept everything, every text, every email, every receipt. Including something I hadn't mentioned before. 3 months ago, Rebecca accidentally sent me a screenshot of her hotel booking with Andrew instead of the venue booking. She had quickly deleted it and sent me the correct screenshot, playing it off as a work-related mix-up. I had saved both screenshots, not thinking much of it at the time. I shared everything with our friend group in a group chat. The hotel screenshot was dated months before I caught them at the mall. It proved that their affair wasn't a one-time mistake as Rebecca had been claiming, it was an ongoing relationship that predated my discovery. Most of our friends have cut ties with Rebecca. Even her cousin Emma, who was supposed to be her maid of honor after I was uninvited, stopped speaking to her. David returned all the wedding gifts and used the money from selling the engagement ring to put a deposit on an apartment in Seattle. He's taking that West Coast job he once passed up. The biggest surprise came last week when Lisa, Andrew's wife, reached out to me through LinkedIn. She wanted to meet for coffee and thank me in person. Over coffee, she revealed that Rebecca wasn't Andrew's first affair, she was his third. Each time, he had pursued younger employees who reported directly to him. Lisa had suspected something was wrong this time too, but never had concrete proof until now. All 3 of Andrew's previous affairs had been silently dealt with through HR, with the women either leaving quietly or being transferred to different departments. Lisa had stayed for the kids, believing Andrew each time he promised to change. But seeing those pictures of him with Rebecca, so publicly affectionate when he had always been reserved with her, was her breaking point. Rebecca still maintains she's the victim in all this. She claims I betrayed her trust and exposed her private life out of jealousy. She doesn't see how her actions, uninviting me from the wedding, spreading lies about me, and then trying to get me fired, led to this outcome. I've blocked her number, but she keeps creating new email addresses to contact me. Her latest message accused me of ruining her career prospects. Apparently, her firing has made it difficult for her to find another marketing job in our city. I haven't responded to any of her messages. I never expected things to spiral this far when I showed those pictures to David. But I don't regret it. Sometimes the truth hurts, but it's better than living with lies. Next update will be my last one, as I'm ready to put this whole situation behind me and move forward with my life. Edit. Thank you for all the supportive messages. To those asking, yes, I've kept screenshots of all Rebecca's harassment emails in case I need them for legal purposes later. Update 3. This will be my final update as I've finally reached a place where I can talk about everything without feeling angry or hurt. A lot has changed in the past 6 months, mostly for the better. I left my old job last month, not because of Rebecca's allegations, but because I got an amazing offer from a larger firm with better benefits and a 30% salary increase. The funny thing is, I probably wouldn't have even applied if this whole situation hadn't pushed me to reevaluate every aspect of my life. Sometimes good things come from bad situations. Our friend group has completely restructured itself. Most people chose to stick with me after seeing all the evidence, particularly after Rebecca's attempts to sabotage my career came to light. Sarah, who provided those initial recordings, has become one of my closest friends. We have weekly dinner dates now, and she's introduced me to her wider circle of friends who have been incredibly welcoming. Rebecca moved back in with her parents after losing her job. According to Emma, her cousin who still occasionally updates me, she had to leave her apartment because she couldn't afford the rent without her trans tech salary. She tried to get unemployment benefits, but was denied because she was fired for cause. She's been working at her father's real estate office, but apparently spends most of her time telling anyone who will listen that she's the real victim in all of this. The situation with Andrew and Lisa took an interesting turn. During divorce proceedings, Lisa's lawyer discovered that Andrew had a pattern of pursuing young employees at every company he'd worked for, dating back 10 years. When they threatened to expose this pattern to Trans Tech's board of directors, Andrew agreed to a very generous divorce settlement. Lisa used part of the money to start her own business, and is doing really well. David and I keep in touch through occasional texts, nothing romantic, just friendly check-ins. He's thriving in Seattle, got promoted within his first 3 months, and recently started dating a software engineer he met through work. He told me that exposing Rebecca's affair was the wake-up call he needed. He had been ignoring red flags because he was so invested in the idea of marriage and settling down. The most satisfying development came last week. Remember how Rebecca kept creating new email addresses to harass me? She finally stopped after her father found out. Apparently, she was using the office computers at his real estate firm to send those emails, and the IT guy discovered them during routine maintenance. Her father was furious, not just about the emails, but about the whole situation once he learned the full story. He's making her see a therapist as a condition of continued employment. As for me, I've learned some valuable lessons about friendship and self-respect. I've stopped being the person who sacrifices everything to maintain relationships that aren't reciprocal. My new job is going great, I've made new friends who value honesty, and I've even started dating again. The hardest part was accepting that the Rebecca I thought I knew never really existed. The person who helped me through my parents' divorce, who shared an apartment with me in college, who I trusted with everything, that person was just a role she played. The real Rebecca was capable of cheating, lying, and trying to destroy someone who had always supported her. I've gone completely no contact with Rebecca. Her parents' house is on my way to work, and sometimes I see her car in the driveway. Each time, I feel a tiny pang of sadness for the friendship we once had, but then I remember how she treated me and feel grateful that I found out her true nature before wasting any more years on that friendship. Life goes on, and surprisingly, it's better than before. Thank you, Reddit, for helping me through one of the toughest periods of my life. Edit. To those asking if I'd ever consider reconciling with Rebecca, no. Some bridges, once burned, should stay ash.